Okay, welcome back to New Conscious World. Yo, he finally had me understand something that I didn't quite fully get. It's the difference between making decisions with your mind, logic, or calculation, which is not advised according to human design, right?
In all religious systems, actually.
Yeah, actually, no, that you're right. But synthesis is this idea, like basically using synthesis to make decisions that will lead you to
Clarity and
clarity
knowingness.
and knowingness. Please take it away. Right?
Well, Trey doesn't have. So when it comes to human design, they taught this thing called authority. And authority is what are you relying as the authority for your choices, right? And so there's two things. Are you relying on the authority of your mind's calculations? Or are you relying on the authority of your inner authority, the spirit of truth inside of you? And the spirit of truth is giving you, from within your body, yeses or nos. Like in ways that interpret it, right? Depending if you're a splenic authority, emotional authority, ego authority, sacral authority, self authority, or no authority. And no authority means there's no inner body authority. So Trey doesn't have inner body authority. So for him, he needs to talk out loud. He needs to have a conversation out loud, talk things out, and come up with a synthesis of energetic knowingness.
Like we just did.
Like it's a synthesis of collected data and experiences and energy. And from that synthesis, a knowingness arises. An energetic knowingness arises. Versus the calculations goes like this. So here's a generic example of a calculation. Calculation go like this. I need some money. What can I do? Well, if I sell that for this, I can get rid of that because I don't use that. And the only time I could possibly use it, I wouldn't need it because in 3 months, I could probably have another one and I wouldn't need it. So I could sell that for this. I could hurry post it and I can get that and I can pay that and I can do that. That's calculations, right? And I'm gonna do it because I'm confident that this calculation will work.
Yeah.
Synthesis would go,
Which makes sense.
which makes calculated sense. But a synthesis would go, should I get rid of this? Should I sell this? Let me sound this out with somebody. Hey, I want to talk you out something. I'm thinking about selling my car because I need some money. I have this second car. I don't really use it, but I'm thinking about selling it. And you have a person that allows you just to talk, ask questions, and lays it out. And they may ask you some questions, and they may help you realize, once again, like, well, why are you keeping the car around?
Yeah.
Because one time in my life, I had a car, I put a lot of miles on it. And this other car, I got a new car, but I don't want to put miles on it. So I use this other car to store stuff in when my friends need it, and it's really useful for me, and it makes me feel I like having that. Oh, so it makes you feel comfortable and relaxed to have it. Yeah, it's just good to know.
I want you to finish this video while I put up the windows of my car because the rain is coming. But you're doing great.
And so as a result, a person may end up doing a whole lot of calculations, but a synthesis allows them to realize, you know what? I can just ask them questions. So you mean you like having an extra car? I do like having an extra car. And they say, well, what do you plan to do with this money? Well, whatever. And they may say, you know what? I can get that money another way. You know what? I don't need to get rid of that car. And then they've allowed through conversation and being a sounding board, by me being their sounding board, to hear and know what their correct answer is. So these are people who need to process out loud, pray out loud, talk out loud. That's what that is for. That's the beauty of a soundboard. But most humans rely on our calculations.
Right.
And calculations makes us insecure. Calculations gets us into trouble versus relying on the yes or no from our inner authority. And those inner authorities, let's start with the biggest inner authority. The majority of people's inner authority is called sacral. And sacral is an inner authority where you wait, you're just waiting for life to happen and then something happens. And if you have a sacral authority, it's just what it is, yes or no. But that yes or no is different for everybody. Some people, they actually feel like something in their throat rises up yes, something rises up no. Some people it's very caveman, and it's like right? And it's just like without even, literally with no thinking, or And some people,
so
it's
easy.
not even that verbal. Some people, it's more so they feel literally something in their gut like reach up. A reach up is like a yes. Like something in there goes like, yay! Not maybe it's not like a yay, but something in their gut is like, yeah. And then a no is like a constriction. Like something in their gut is like pulling back, like, So but it's one of those variations. And then you have the next largest one is emotional authority. And emotional authority is, I have emotional authority, right? Emotional is very interesting because sometimes
Which I'm thankful not to have.
Emotional authority for us, there is never, ever any truth for us in the moment. Because our emotional solar plexus, our emotions are constantly, always, our emotions are always filtering our worldview. We're always filtering everything through our emotion. So, Trey may say, hey, Adam, you want to go with me later to do so-and-so? If I'm in a high right now, I'm like, man, yeah, God, yes, that's going to be so much fun. 3 hours come, I'm like, why did I ever agree to this? Like, this is not. So as an emotional authority, what I want to do is, what I got to say is, hey, Trey, that sounds really fun right now. When do I need to make a final decision for you? And he says, well, I need you to decide in the next 10 minutes. Well, I can't decide. That ain't for me then. Like, if you need me to know, give you an answer in the next 10 minutes, then it's a no. Mm-hmm. Because I don't have enough time to sit in my neutrality. Mm-hmm. My neutrality. So emotional people, we have to get to a place of neutral. Where we're okay if we go, we're okay if we get it, we're okay if we don't get it. Mm-hmm. When in that neutrality, we know what is the right yes or no for us. We can hear our yes, our no, but for emotional people, it sounds more like it's okay. It just feels like it's like, it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. I can do it. Mm-hmm. But we only know it when we are in a neutralness. Like when we get into that neutral, then we can hear very clearly. Not when we're low, because in my low, I don't want to do anything. No, I don't want to go. No, I'm not interested at all. Don't want to do that. In my high, everything sounds fun and exciting. Yeah. But when I'm neutral, like, if I go, it'll be great. If I don't, it'll be okay. If I stay here, I'll be fine. If I go, I'll be fine. In that, I can make a decision. Now I can hear very clear for me. Splenic authority is like what I call push or pull. These are people that's just like something is yanking their entire body. No. Like, it's like their whole body's being yanked. And for a yes, they're literally like, it's like they have verbalized too, something is pushing them. Pushing it. Like I hear splenic people say, man, something just pushed me to get on the phone and call you right now. Like splenic people are being pushed or they're being pulled, and it's always in the moment. They know immediately an answer. Yeah. You ask them something, and especially if it's coming up soon, they're going to get yanked or be pushed to say something is pushing me to say yes. Yeah. Ego people, ego authority or heart authority, these are people who their conviction is pulling them. Their conviction is making them say, they'll say something like this, my conviction makes me say yes. Or my conviction makes me say no. And they have to honor and respond to that. Wow, it's really raining.
It is raining.
It's bad, like bad. Wow, that's crazy. Oh. And who would have thought it would be this raining, right? So Trey, this is a good example, right? You drove up. And I always tell Trey, roll up your windows. I didn't say it today, right? But normally I say, Trey, roll up your windows. But his mind would normally say, it's not going to rain. Mm-hmm. The sun is shining. I didn't see on the forecast. Mm-hmm. Versus trusting in your inner authority. So this is a really good example because this apparently came out of nowhere. So it seemed to go out of nowhere, right? Yeah. Oh, no, this is a good example because what happened? Think about what just happened. Earlier, you said I wanted to record you, Adam, are you available? Yeah. I said, where do you want to record at? You said outside. Uh-huh. And then I said, okay, you sure? And you said, no, I'm not sure. I don't know where it's correct at. And I said, well, what do you think is correct? I kind of like we sounded out. And then you said, you know what? You made a synthesis and you said, your apartment will be better.
The controlled environment.
You said a controlled environment will be better. Let's go to your apartment. And imagine if we were stuck outside right now.
But that makes logical sense to me.
Yeah, but for you, it was a synthesis.
It wasn't. What would have been logic mind?
Well, logic was you want to go outside, let's go to the park.
That's my desire.
Yeah, that's your desire. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're missing out. It's not like you dismiss logic altogether. For you, you just make it's a synthesis that's based on a whole bunch of things, rather not like, because your undefined could have said, but it's not going to look, it's not going to be authentic. I wanted to have this look of nature, and it was so nice outside. I don't know, all the different things. So, but and then you have the sacral, where it's just a gut yes or gut no, emotional, where it's more so just a over time in our neutrality. And neutrality doesn't mean it have to take an hour. You can get a person get into neutral in 5 minutes. It's just neutral. However long it, just wait. Just don't make a decision until you're in your neutrality. Whether that takes 72 hours, 48 hours, or 5 minutes. Just don't make a decision until you are neutral. And neutral sounds like I'm okay if I do, I'm okay if I don't. Or I would like this, but I would do without it. Like, that's when an emotional person knows they can now make an informed, good decision.
So for me, and maybe everyone, well, not spleening, but for me, taking a moment to just do what I did more often.
Yeah.
What will be...
Or just making sure that the answer is coming from for some of us, a lot of us, it's about taking time. Not for everybody. Because the sacral and the spleen they don't need it. If they taking time.
I mean, big decisions for me, 28 days.
But for the sacral and the spleen people, the more time they got, they're going to mess up something.
Right.
Because that spleen is just going to pull you one time and push you one time. It's not going to push you again.
Right.
It's going to say, call Adam right now. If you wait 10 minutes, you missed it.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, you can't check back in.
Yeah.
For me as an emotional person, the more I remain in my neutral, and this is something personal for us emotional people. That's very powerful.
Because you went over all of them already, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sacral is the gut yes. Spleen is the push or pull in the moment towards something. Ego is the conviction. Ego and self. Self-projector, ego manifestor. These are people who have to go by what they are convicted. It don't have to make no sense to anybody. If this is your conviction, if it gives you a sense of purpose, you got to follow it. And if you feel purposeful not to do it, you got to follow it. And then you have the sounding board individuals like yourself who need to talk things out and come to a synthesis. And in that synthesis, they hear a knowingness.
But from a place of holistic
view. And
not
then
just need and feel.
Yeah, because it wasn't just your logic that said control. Because you could have said a controlled environment. And you said this, but when you said it, something, it landed. And that's the word. Thank you, Spirit. A synthesis, a correct synthesis for the people who have no inner authority. Their synthesis lands correctly in their body. Can you taste that experience? Like something will happen, you come with this synthesis, and then it'll land in your body. The knowingness will land in your body, right? You're like, okay, this is it.
Something rested. I was like content with it.
Yeah, something rests in your body with it.
I might have to practice feeling it.
Yeah, but it'll land. You will hear people say that phrase, that didn't land right in me.
Yeah.
Or this, I can rest in that knowingness.
Yeah.
I can rest in this whatever. And so for us emotional people, what I was going to get to is that emotional people, that neutrality is very powerful. And there's a lot of us who are emotional. Emotional people, give us we got a superpower. Because in our neutrality, unlike the sacral, unlike the spleen, in our neutrality, we don't just get a knowingness what's correct for us in that related thing. In that neutrality, we are seeing what's correct for us all the way in the past. Emotional awareness is deep. It's deep waters. And so it can create a lot of melancholy. Because in that neutrality, you'll see what's something that's correct for you in that moment, but you'll also see something that was correct for you last year or 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's why you be having those reflections.
Because an emotional authority is deep. It gives you a very deep knowingness of what was correct for me. It can be very humbling, and it can create some type of melancholy because you're like, you'll know this was the right move for me. And then you realize, oh wait, you now in that neutrality can realize, also that was the right move for me 6 or 10 years ago. You just have a knowingness that can be very humbling for emotional people. That level of in-depth awareness is really, it can be very good,
yeah.
But it's solid. It's
Yeah.
solid. It's solid. It takes longer. I'm only saying that to say emotion. People feel like, oh, why don't this is so painful, but it is real. When you get that emotional neutrality and you get that yes or no, that peace, it is that peace. It really is deep. It's not just for that current situation. It'll give you a big picture.
Well, that is the authority section. Might make this a course for yourself or something. I don't know. But thank you for tuning in. More human design information from the man himself, Adam from Adam. Check his information out below.
And I'm still a learner. I'm still a practitioner of human. I've only been into human design for a little over 6 years. Just hitting 7. Not even hit 7 yet. So I'm just, and I'm always evolving it, learning it, and better it. So as the founder of human design would say, don't take what I'm saying as it, but do your own experiment. That's the best way to really learn it. Do your own experiment. And it's fun. When you're not trying to make it work, make it sense. When you're not trying to make it right, and you don't have to prove it's right. When you're just like, let me see. I'll try it and see. Yeah. That's how I do it with my diet. I knew it already. I knew my history said I eat like eating at night, but I said, let me actually try it and see what happens. Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all check out the next video. It's coming up right here, and we will see you soon.
2 fingers.
Peace.